Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today we're going to start off in doing something to sort of celebrate the 5-year anniversary of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So for those who don't know, on July 4th this year it'll be 5 years since Warhammer Age of Sigmar first came out. It's pretty easy to say it was met with mixed reactions on my own part as well, and we'll get into more of that later. But without a doubt, the game has in recent years gone from strength to strength to strength and just improved so much. The community has grown so much in these past few years that it's just vastly just exceeded all expectations I had initially of the game. So in this series I'll be trying to do these hopefully daily or every other day. Back at work now, so doing daily videos sometimes become a bit of an issue. Sometimes you're just too buggered from work and looking after the kids and having to help around the house with a wife and stuff like that, but it is what it is. So we'll be trying to put out most of these, and they'll be coming out all through the month of July as well. But I want to talk about my first experiences with Age of Sigmar today, and throughout this whole little series we'll be talking about different experiences, different things I've done and experienced over Age of Sigmar. But today especially I want to look at my first experiences. So we're talking my experiences with Age of Sigmar right out the gate. To begin with, to talk about any of these sort of things though, I think the first thing we need to talk about is where I came from to Age of Sigmar. And so I was there for the initial release of Age of Sigmar. I've played Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k and Warhammer in general since I was almost about 6 or 7 years old, and we got given a set of Hero Quest from one of my uncles. Me and my cousins used to play. I was always the elf, and my other cousins were the different characters around, and one of us was a Games Master. And we sort of swapped to a Game Master, but our characters would just be our own ones, and we'd have one person jumping in and out. But I started with Hero Quest, and then we went into a Warhammer store. I got my first miniatures, which were a couple of the old metal Wood Elf Dryads. Unfortunately, at the time when I started, Wood Elves weren't an army, so then later on went back, got some Skaven. They were my first army, and then when 2006 I picked up Wood Elves. And then I pretty much ran Wood Elves and Skaven, and dabbling in a bit of Beasts of Chaos along the way, though not much. But Wood Elves and Skaven remain my two dominant forces throughout Fantasy. I remember 6th, 7th and 8th edition very fondly. I had plenty of good times playing all of those games in many different variations, from giant mega games to Triumph and Treachery, standard games, more competitive sort of games. And lots of different things. Like, it was a good time. I loved Fantasy, and I can't wait for Old World. I'm excited to have it come back because I did enjoy my time playing Fantasy immensely. Now, to continue on from that, Wood Elves were the army I finished playing 8th edition with. They were the last army I was sort of running. This was mainly because the Wood Elves finally got a new book in 8th edition. I was really excited for that book. Everything came out. It was awesome. I was playing with my Wood Elves again, and then Age of Sigmar hit. Now, my initial reaction to Age of Sigmar was, okay, this is different. I remember seeing the leaks of the Stormcast that came out originally, and I was just like, whoa, this is different. And at that point we didn't know the world ended, and then finally we got the blurb at the end of the End Times books leaked, and I read it, and I'm like, Order, good guys lost. Wow, the world got destroyed. What's going to happen next? And I didn't quite know what to think of this. Everything I'd known for so many years was destroyed. And I'm like, I accepted it. I'm like, okay, but where is this going now? And so Age of Sigmar came out, launch day. Our local GW manager went away on one of those weekends they can't get off. He went away, learned all about the game, and yeah, Age of Sigmar launch day came out. I bought the big book, bought the new rulebook. I printed out all my war scrolls that were all free to download upon launch. I took in, at this point, I decided I was going to actually do a new army for Age of Sigmar. I bought some Lizardmen, or Seraphon as they were now called in Age of Sigmar. I had some Saurus, a box of Saurus Warriors and a Saurus Scar Veteran, and I was borrowing a friend's Bastillodon. So I went in for the first day of Age of Sigmar. And so I got my first game. There were no points, no nothing like that. Obviously back in those days, the Wild West editions of Age of Sigmar. And we put down some equal amount of wound models. We both put down a small hero. My friend put down a branch wraith. And so this is funny, I was playing against Wood Elves in my first Age of Sigmar game. Yeah, I collected Wood Elves for my entire fantasy days for the most part. He put down a branch wraith, I put down a Saurus Old Blood. We both put down 10 Dryads and 10 Saurus Warriors. And then I put down a Bastillodon and he put down a Tree Lord. And we played a game of Age of Sigmar. We practiced all the rules and it came down to a fight between my Saurus Old Blood and the Tree Lord in the end of it. And I managed to strike the tree down. I still remember this. This was my very first experience of Age of Sigmar. And the Saurus Old Blood won the day. The only model left alive. And that was my first experience of Age of Sigmar. I liked a lot of the mechanics. We learnt many things like spellcasting and battle shock and combat, all that sort of stuff. Hero phase, abilities. And I really liked the mechanics behind the game originally. Though I still wasn't quite keen on the no points. And this would be a common thing. I really wasn't keen on no points at that time. And that's an interesting thing because I play many games without points, but I think to not have points at all and to not be able to play a game within that framework of points to learn the game was interesting. I can honestly say I probably was not a fan of no points at the start. And as I said, I played games with no points, and I had in fantasy many times. But in this instance, that was my biggest issue. And so I played some more games. One that sticks out to me was playing against a friend called Jason, and he played his Empire, or Free Guild as they now were, against my Sylvaneth army, because obviously I had a large collection of tree spirits. This was before Sylvaneth books. So this was just Tree Lords and Dryads and Branch Race and Treekin as well, because they were part of the Sylvaneth allegiance back then. And so we played a mission called the Relic, which is effectively he needed to get one hero near a certain location in my army, and I was trying to do this, and it will pass on to other heroes. And so we put down armies pretty similar size. I just killed all these heroes with Tree Lord shooting, and that was the game. I was like, alright, I used tactical in that, but don't know how, these were the only missions at the time as well. There weren't match play style missions with a more playing to win sort of focus, and all that. And I really do enjoy narrative play without it. Narrative play is my favorite way to play, but it was just interesting to play a game and normally I'm cool, we're just going to try and win, casual, just sort of put two armies down, let's try and win. And realising that Age of Sigmar wasn't that sort of game. And so my initial experiences are sort of starting to sound I was struggling without points because it wasn't like fantasy where I could understand the game without points. I was at that point in fantasy playing long enough that I could understand the game without points. I knew how to sort of make non-point games work. So I played a few more games. I played a couple of good games against my good mate Kron with his Slanesh and one of my mate Axel and his dwarves. And I had a lot of fun playing all these games, and I probably fell off a little bit. At this time, 40k was picking up a lot in my local store, and I played a lot more 40k than I did Age of Sigmar. And that was mainly because I probably wasn't the only person falling off the attraction. My regular gaming buddies weren't sort of feeling AOS as much either. The models were cool and some of the releases were cool, but nothing was sort of striking us as, well, this is the best game. And at the time, we probably did think that 40k was the better game than early AOS. But that all changed, because then the General's Handbook came out and we got points. Now, there were some points immediately, just everyone all of a sudden started playing Age of Sigmar more. It gave the game a framework to build around. It gave a basic understanding of what some units are worth and what armies are worth. And I know points are not always perfect. In those early days of Age of Sigmar, though, they were pretty darn perfect, I think. 100 points for Liberators, 200 points for Retributors. I think those early points really were pretty darn perfect. But those early games of Age of Sigmar, I was hitting out with my Wanderers, still with a Forest Lord, a Glade Lord on Forest Dragon, because he had a really cool ability, Activation Wars before the Activation Wars. And I play games against my mate Axel and his Dwarves, and against my friend Matt, his Seraphon, and Mr. Kron from Aethercast, my good friend, and his Slanesh at the time. And then the Sylvaneth Battle Tome came out, and I delved into my first Age of Sigmar army properly, which was some Sylvaneth. And I really enjoyed playing with like the Battle Tome. This was obviously, and Sylvaneth as well, was the first Battle Tome for a in the current sort of style, where the artifacts, spell laws, all that sort of stuff. And I think at this point with the new Sylvaneth book was when I was truly hooked back into Age of Sigmar, when I really saw it for what it was, when I really got the idea of like, I like this a lot. And that really for me was the big sort of change in my mind that, this game's cool, but it's not my main game, because 40k had probably taken over for a while as my main game. But Age of Sigmar finally showed me some things I wanted, and some things like I didn't really know what I wanted from a new game, but it gave me things that I wanted. It gave me a little bit of customization. It gave me some cool little things. It had, there were callbacks in the Sylvaneth book, like a Throne of Vines and stuff that I really loved as an old fantasy player. That was really good for me. But it just really hooked me in and changed my whole thought process and really set the game up for me. But that's all I really wanted to talk about in this little first episode. I'd love to know your first experiences with Age of Sigmar. Please leave them down in the comments below and let me know your first thoughts wherever you came in from Age of Sigmar. Whether you started at the start like myself and an old fantasy player, or whether you're someone brand new. I'd really love to know your first experiences and how you truly thought about Age of Sigmar. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. Please, if you'd like to support the channel more, please do hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me, and it keeps us popping out content like this non-stop. Also, special thanks go to everyone who supports the channel via Patreon, and you can find the links to our Patreon down in the description of the video below. But first of all, thank you to our Sinful Guard Militia members Christian Weir, Wasarin and Philip Ward, and our Sinful Free Guild Regiment member James. You guys are all amazing, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Lastly, don't forget you can go find in the description of the video also the link to the Sinful Gaming Discord server, where you can chat with me and other members of our little cool community about all things wargaming. Thank you everyone for watching once again. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey.